Hi, today we're talking about why you should never ever quit your day job to start a brand new small business. And by the end of the video, I'll let you know how I personally made a transition from my full-time day job into a brand new small business that I started in two different companies. And I'll give you details on that. Stay tuned. Hi, my name is Mike Mancini. I'm a small business owner, entrepreneur, and a business coach. Today we're talking about why you should never quit your day job when you're starting a brand new small business. And I'm going to give you 6 reasons why, and then I'm going to go into a little bit more discussion and explain how I personally did it in 2 different instances. So number 1 reason why you don't want to quit your day job is a steady paycheck. I mean, do you like getting paid? Do you like making money? I think we all do, and that's why, or could be one of the reasons why you are looking at starting a small business. However, if you do like that consistent paycheck, you should understand that consistent paycheck, or at least the number or the amount of that paycheck, is probably going to go down when you initially start a business. You may be able to pay yourself on a regular basis, which you should. However, typically people do take a pay cut when they go into that realm because they're thinking, well, you know what, if I start my own business, I'll be making much more money because my company now makes a lot more money by billing my services out and I just get a percentage of that. While that is true, your company is also paying a lot of expenses. They're paying for your benefits, they're paying taxes, they're paying for, the office that you're in, so on and so forth. So you need to understand that you are maybe, transitioning to a smaller paycheck. In some instances, maybe that paycheck won't be there for a while. So you need to be aware of that. Number 2 is expensive. Regardless of what you have read or what you have heard, starting a small business can be expensive. And sure, you can get started for cheaper by doing a lot of things by yourself. But one thing you need to realize is time is money. And I personally don't think I ever realized just how true that was until I had my own business. And I started spending time doing things that I should have been farming out, or I should have definitely not been doing myself because my time was much more valuable or should have been spent doing other things. Now, the more time it takes you to do those things, essentially the more money it's costing your business. And in this situation, you may need that income from your day job to help either farm some of these things out or to help you finance your business. Number 3, and this one is really key, desperation. When you start your own small business, you'll tend to really take any business from wherever it comes from. And I'm sure a lot of you can, maybe empathize with that or agree with me on that. I remember when I started my first business, I would take business from absolutely anywhere because for me, it was a small win. I'm like, yes, new client. And then by the time I got done with the job, I realized either 1, I lost money, or 2, I hardly made anything at all because I didn't put myself out there for as much as I should have been making because I was so excited to get new business that I undercut myself by a huge, huge margin. And that desperation will lead you to making really bad business decisions. And you will make much smarter decisions if you're not desperate for that business. But do me a favor. Let me know in the comments below if that's happened to you. Have you ever taken a job out of, call it desperation or call it whatever you will, at the very beginning of starting a business and realized, I lost money on this, or I spent twice as much time with this client as I should have, or whatever it might be. Do me a favor, let us know in the comments below. Let other people who see this know that they're not alone and that you understand where they're coming from. Number 4 is timing. When you finally decide to quit your full-time job and transition to your small business, you'll want to have the timing be right. And what I mean by that is, perhaps it's a seasonal business. You don't really want to start an ice cream stand in July in Minnesota, as you'll almost have missed out of 2 months of, your busiest times. You want to work on your small business while you're working your day job, get it ready to go, and then launch right at the beginning of a busy season or just before it starts. And then once that happens, that could be a good time to transition. A big mistake in regards to timing that I see a lot of people doing is they will literally quit their day job and start their small business. And then right away, they're spending most of their time setting up their website or learning how to get their bookkeeping in order and not actually getting any business or making any money. And that is the worst way you can go about it. You can do that stuff at night on your own time. You can get things ready to go. The worst thing you can do is quit your day job, jump into your business, and be spending times on things that are not making you money immediately. That is going to be the fastest way to failure, or the fastest way for you to essentially go out and start looking for another day job. You should be spending time in your business providing services that are actually getting you paid and not setting up a website or those other things that can be done early on before you make that transition. Number 5, mindset. It's much different going to work for someone else every day than it is to run your own business. Chances are that you're in your full-time job and you're doing one job. However, when you're in a small business, you have to do every job, whether that's accounting, finance, sales, providing the actual services, everything involved, bookkeeping, whatever it might be. It's your job. You have every job now, not just one. So a lot of people don't realize that and they go on and be like, oh, I'm just going to be getting business and providing services. That's not the case. Now you have to figure out how you're going to get new jobs, how you go about your billing, how you go about, your accounts receivable, how you go about what kind of overhead do you need. A lot of people don't think about that and their mindset is not in that place. And a lot of those things fall by the wayside. And it ends up either being very detrimental to them or costing them a lot of money down the road. So have your mindset in the right place. Number 6, commitment. Do you have the commitment to start a small business? And what I mean by that is you must be 100% committed. You have to be all in. And you're not all in just by quitting your day job. That's not committed. That's impulsive. When you start a small business while working for someone else and keeping your day job, you'll start to see what it really takes to run a business. You'll start to see the things that you didn't see before and that you're working towards something. You're starting to figure it out what it's going to take for you to move forward. And when you've started to kind of figure things out and what it's going to take for you to move forward and push through every one of those roadblocks, then you've become committed. And then and only then should you quit your day job once you have kind of covered all the other things that we've talked about before this stage. But I would not quit your day job before that. And I'm going to give you kind of a bonus one here, and it's called pressure. Starting a small business is a ton of pressure. Now that may be pressure internally, that may come from family or financial obligations, whatever it might be, but it comes with a ton of pressure. And if for some reason something goes wrong, and trust me, it always will, you need to understand how to deal with that added pressure. And the biggest piece of advice I can give to you is have a support system to help you deal with that pressure. Whether it's speaking to a therapist, whether it's speaking to somebody else who's in the similar industry, or someone else who's running a small business that can help you out, or just literally be an ear for you, maybe give you some feedback, whatever it might be. Have a support system, because the pressure you're going to put on yourself is a lot. And if you don't know how to deal with it, or if you just fold up every time that happens, you are going to fail in your small business. And that's the last thing that we want. Now, the way I did it was when I started my first business, which was an online t-shirt company. I had started throwing some t-shirts up on a small website that I had made and just had kind of done it just for some extra cash. And then realized that there was an opportunity for me to really take it full time. And before I made that jump, I'd been thinking about it for a couple of months. And then things started to really pick up over about 60-day period. And then I decided, you know what? I was in a situation at work. Now is a good time to cut the cord. And I did. And I really came out of that much stronger because I wasn't basically hanging everything on just this one venture. I mean, I really was, but I knew that it worked. I knew that I'd already put some work in and dealt with a lot of the roadblocks. I understood that I was going to enjoy it. And I still had a lot of growing pains to learn as I went. With that said, it ended up being a really positive experience for me, and it turned out all right. Now, fast forward 7 years from that point, I was in the t-shirt business still, and I wanted out. I was done. I just wanted to do something else. But over that 7-year period of time, I had figured out I was really good at marketing it online. So I really wanted to transition to that. But if I quit the t-shirt business, all that revenue, all that income, I would have failed right away. I needed to have something to transition into, because I wasn't quite sure how I was going to do it yet. So in that instance, what I did was I started the business, just got the business name and the website and some of that stuff up and running, just kind of an hour or two here and there. And then when it was ready to go, I decided to farm out some of my services. Now, I did that at first to a couple of friends of mine for free and said, listen, I'm doing this marketing. Can I come do some for you for a certain period of time? Do it for free. If it works out, you hire me on as a guy that takes care of that. And they were like, absolutely. Especially if it starts out for free and you show us that it works. And that started right away. So I did that for, I think, about 30 days. And then I decided I was going to make that transition. So I put the business up for sale. It took a couple of months to sell the business. So I had another 60 days or so to worry about that. But that was my transition during that time. I didn't just walk away from the business. But in that case, I could have sold the business and started another one right away based on the money I got from the business sale. However, it would have taken me that much longer to get up and running. So I started, about 90 days, 120 days before I actually sold the business. And then I really transitioned very, very quickly into the new one. In fact, I started making more money within just a couple of months after actually selling the other business than I was previously. So that's how it worked out for me. So do me a favor, if you like this video, hit the like button below and the subscribe button and the little bell icon so that you'll be notified of when we release new videos each and every week. And if you like small business videos like this or how to market your business, do us a favor over on the right-hand side of the screen. We've got a couple more videos, 6 digital marketing strategies for small business owners and top 5 social media marketing tips for your small business. Thanks so much for stopping by.